I wanted to do a follow-up to the Starfield, the whole pronouns things, because the discourse surrounding it is absolutely insane. Like, I honestly thought this was gonna blow over pretty quickly. Oh, here's a bald, fat British guy, losing his mind. He's triggered over pronouns, one of the most insignificant things in a game that a lot of people actually didn't even pay any attention to.
Fucking pronouns!
Oh, okay, I get it. In the character creation screen, it asks you what pronoun you want for your character. It's like 3 seconds of a game, which is like 700 hours long.
Fucking gender ambiguity!
They're like, oh, that's crazy that this guy would freak out this badly about something so insignificant. We point and laugh, and then we move on. But these people that are defending him, they won't let it go, and they're all saying, even himself, what's his name, Heels versus Babyface, or Heel versus Babyface, he said himself that it has nothing to do with the pronouns. It's much bigger than that. And we're here to say that no, it's not. Maybe in your mind it is, because I can understand that. I could understand back in the day. I'm saying like 2010, there were some conspiracy theories that I believed in. I thought there was some more nefarious things happening in the world until I got shown that, no, that's all BS and I'm a dummy, And then I was like, oh, wow. Like one of them, for example, was chemtrails. I thought that was the thing. It just lined up. It just happened to line up because I was having some weird lung issues. I don't know what was going on. I was having some breathing issues. So I was just like, oh, anything that I can find as an excuse. And then, I learned about that. And so I thought that's what's happening. There's stuff in the air. There's aluminum or something. And, it was just like a wacky conspiracy that didn't make any sense once you actually just really paid attention to it. And you're like, okay. And it's easy to get sucked into stuff like that. And I feel like that, like this guy, like the Heel versus Babyface, and some of these people I'm going to show you, just a handful of people, maybe like 2 or 3 of the people that I responded to on Twitter, they're currently entrenched in this. They think this is some like huge battle. This is even the language that they're using. You'll hear people like, oh, so-and-so won. Culture war, this, like the war, battle, in the trenches, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yo, this is gay, dude. You're not a warrior. This is not a war. This is the internet. This is the internet. This is fake fantasy BS. This is not real life. There is a life outside of this online discourse. Even back then in the day when Gamergate was a thing, because that was also brought up, this stuff wasn't that serious. What did people that were pro Gamergate said? They said it's about ethics in gaming journalism. For the people that aren't aware of Gamergate, for probably the 2 or 3 of you that would listen to this, right? There was a girl named Zoe Quinn who was a shitty indie developer that made a terrible game that got greenlit on Steam. It was kind of propped up by people, and everyone was kind of confused. Then you found out that she was sleeping around to, sleeping her way to the top. And when it was discovered, right, by one of her boyfriends, wrote like an op-ed or something, instead of ostracizing her for being like, yeah, this is unethical. Like, even if the devs and the journalists didn't actually care, optically, it would have to be like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to ostracize you. That's just the way that it goes. Instead, they took a completely different route and started trashing all the people that were complaining. They all started colluding and writing similar articles, trashing the gamers. Gamers are dead. The age of the gamers over. Started just attacking their demographic, the people that would read their articles and play their games and stuff. So then that's how Gamergate started, right? And there were people like me that were just like, wanted these people to be held accountable, wanted there to be higher standards, and let's just make this about gaming, right? And largely, after a while, things died down and it just became about the games again. I can't really remember. I think the last time that I was really irritated was when Anita Sarkeesian became a consultant for like Naughty Dog or something like that. She was working with Neil Druckmann. I think that was the last time I was actually annoyed by anything, because I'm like, Anita Sarkeesian is a proven con artist. There is video evidence of her saying she doesn't play video games. As an adult, she didn't care about, she didn't like them. She tried to do some TEDx saying that, oh, I've been playing Super Mario since I was 9 or whatever, you know, because some kids just play games that their dads play, but she never grew up being a gamer. She was just a con artist. She actually, there's video footage of her promoting a multi-level marketing scam, you know, a pyramid scheme. She was just all about getting money. And there's a bunch of people that didn't know about this because they didn't care enough to like investigate. But there's a guy, like this guy that he quote tweeted me, and he was just kind of freaking out about everything. First of all, he didn't even read my text message. He didn't read my tweet correctly. That was first the most egregious thing, where it's like, bro, you got to learn how to read. That's first and foremost, you got to learn how to read. And then from there, we can move on and actually dissect my actual tweet. So I said, you know, and I went over this before. It says, what a man-child, we used to make fun of people like this that would freak out at the most insignificant things in games. Everything is blank, in quotations, right? Y'all just replace sexist with woke. And so I was just taking that Anita Sarkeesian thing where she's like, everything's sexist, everything's racist, everything's homophobic, and you got to point it all out. And essentially what these people are doing now, they're saying everything is woke. They're doing this panicky thing and trying to just label everything as what I don't like, it's this, right? This negative pejorative thing. And so this guy says, the Starfield discourse has revealed the rift between the old anti-SJW crowd, those with actual political instincts and foresight, and those who would happily agreed with Anita if she had been less smug about it. And this it's such a crazy thing to even say, to say that as a response, because in my tweet, I am taking a shot at Anita Sarkeesian. And I'm just like, how do you not understand this by reading my tweet? I am saying you, Harry Robinson, are Anita Sarkeesian. I would not be okay with her because I was never okay with her. You are doing what she's doing now. I don't know if you're a full-blown grifter or if you're just a crazy ideologue, right? Because back in the day, there was progressive ideologues that were acting crazy. They were being zealots. And we're like, go away. Now you guys are just on the right and you're zealots, which makes more sense because people on the right are extremely religious on average. Much more than people on the left. A lot of people on the left are religious as well. They always forget about that, especially in the United States. Most people are religious, but it's in a different way. It's just like a subtle thing that, oh, I have faith, versus people on the right where they start getting to cult-like behavior. And so when you start seeing stuff like this, it's kind of par for the course, right? They've learned since they were young to just believe whatever is being taught to them. This is gospel, and they don't need to question it. So you have these bigger YouTubers that are telling them this is a culture war. This pronoun thing is a slight against you. This pronoun thing is them trying to force you to use pronouns. And it's like, bro, first of all, you always use pronouns. In this video already, I've probably said, who knows, 50 pronouns or even more. Because, like, people need to learn and look up what are pronouns and how many there are. And not just, like, you know, the fantasy ones that the Zims, not that stuff. I'm just talking about in a general, standard, well-accepted Webster's dictionary. Like, this is just an update in culture, right? Here's an extra option for you. I made a point in my podcast that it will be out later on, like on Monday, that there's people that freaked out when we started including Spanish on applications. I'm going to fill out an application, and then you see that it has, like, you know, English on one side and Spanish on the other side. And there's people that were so upset about that, right? Because, I mean, let's be real, they're intolerant. And they're mad that, like, no, you just speak English only, blah, 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 blah. And this is very reminiscent of this, where there is a slight change, something that doesn't impact me at all. Like there being a Spanish option on an application or whatever, Spanish options when you're filling out your medical papers for your insurance or whatever, doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. Why would I care about that at all? So yeah, the Starfield pronouns. I use he, him pronouns. So, okay, there it is. I'm picking a dude. It's there by default. Who cares? But see, when you're entrenched in this gay-ass online culture war, no, it's a huge offense. They're trying to alter your way of life. They're trying to take your jobs, kind of a thing, right? It has the very similar energy. It's so cringy. It's so pathetic. When you actually stop living terminally online, you can really see that this stuff is so insignificant and does not matter. This shit is so unsexy if you have a significant other. There's no way that you have a wife or a girlfriend or whomever. I'm talking about these guys specifically. And they're like, yeah, dude, you screaming about pronouns, that's really hot. I'm really glad that I'm with you. You're such a man. You like, it's so pathetic, man. It's so pathetic. Let's read another one of Harry's insane tweets. Anita won Gamergate. She and all other feminists got jobs consulting for game companies or giving speeches about inclusion at conferences. You sat around celebrating that she went away. You lost. And now you're defending everything she stood for. Congrats. This is what I'm talking about when I say living terminally online. You start having crazy thoughts like this. We've already established that Anita Sarkeesian is a con artist. There is video footage of her saying as an adult, she doesn't play video games, she doesn't like them. There's video footage of her talking about the multi-level marketing pyramid scheme that she was a part of. So she entered this and made a lot of money and then she bounced. But I will indulge, let's say for the sake of argument, everything she stood for has come to fruition. Has it though, dude? I am currently right now playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I am a giant buff male power fantasy dude, bro. And my posse is just beautiful, naked women. And I mean baked into the game. I didn't have to mod it to make them nude. They are just naked, unclothed. This is everything that Anita railed against. If she won, I would not be able to do this. You need to go outside, dude. It's not that serious. So I replied to a couple of other ones. I'm just gonna mention a couple things that I wanted to show you, like just to kind of show you what I just been saying. So this dude said, you realize that this is how they will get y'all to use preferred pronouns. Just pronouns, no biggie. My guy, one day you'll wake up to state your pronouns at every corner. It'll be at emails, daily interactions, and etc. It's a normalization process. Like, I know it won't. This is what I'm talking about. That won't happen. My guy, how many years have we still used thumbs up, thumbs down, a handshake, a nod, hello, hi? I'm just talking about like English specifically as ways that we greet each other. Other than slang changing, the standard way to say hello and hi and greet yourself has remained the same for so fucking long. To think that just our entire way of life is going to change because of this fucking pronoun thing, just because we recognize that trans people exist, is so crazy. Like, this is why it's like you need to go outside. Most people in the world have no idea what any of this stuff is. They don't know anything about this dumb culture war thing. They don't know anything about this he, him, she, her thing. They'd be like, oh, well, I don't understand what's going on. Like, why is that in their bio on Twitter? I don't understand. And the normal person would just say, oh, well, it's probably for in solidarity of trans people, because, some trans people use that so they can, you can know beforehand how to address them respectfully. It's kind of like my wife, where my wife, the way that her name is spelt in English, you wouldn't, just by looking at it, you wouldn't know how to pronounce her name. So the best thing to do is get ahead of it by her introducing herself, saying her name first so people know, or she just uses her nickname. That's why it's in their bio. Years ago, there was a time where I didn't understand that right away. So I thought it was strange. But then once I learned why, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I immediately stopped caring. Like, it's not offensive. It does nothing to me. And let's just say in this guy's crazy, soft-ass dystopian world, that actually happens. Everywhere you go, you have to state your pronouns. Oh, no! Oh, no! I have to say I'm he, him? Oh, my God, what an absolute ultra inconvenience. Like, how much of a pussy do you have to be freaking out about something like that? All right, and last one that I want to go over. I actually didn't respond to this. I just saw it. But this is some guy. He says, interesting how many YouTubers on quote-unquote our side during Gamergate turned out to be leftist Trojan horses. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the biggest things that this was one of the biggest problems with Gamergate, that there was a bunch of dummies like this guy that literally assumed that Gamergate was some type of conservative movement, was some type of chud ass, like, we don't like you guys because you're on the left. Because there were people that were like that, even though, and they used ethics in journalism as a shield. Like, if anyone was an actual Trojan horse, it was you guys. Because that was the argument. Ethics in journalism. We're trying to hold these people to a higher standard. A lot of you parroted those same talking points. I bet this dummy did the same thing if I went digging, but I don't care enough. And so he's just kind of revealing he removed the veil. That's like, no, I cared about my conservative ideals being championed, and I want the leftist ideals to go away. It's not even about things remaining neutral, because in his language, our side, I'm like, bro, there was no side. The whole idea was, look at all these people with different demographics coming together to tell these people to shut up, to tell these people that they're being dumb, and they need to just make games and then leave their politics at home, unless the game was political in nature, right? If you're writing something that has to do with anything remotely in politics, there's going to be politics in the game. But if you're just writing an op-ed that doesn't have anything to do with the game, and you're talking about the gamer, why the hell would I want to read that? Get that crap out of here. It was pretty simple and cut and dry. And the unfortunate thing, because of people like this, there was a lot of progressives that saw only these people, and so they labeled Gamergate people as this guy. They labeled people like that fat British dude. He's the leader of Gamergate, essentially. Like, he has the essence of Gamergate. And it's unfortunate because there's people like me and people that were adjacent to me that didn't do any dumb shit like that. We didn't scream and cry. I didn't have a problem with people just on the left. I fucking grew up in California. I hung out with punks. I was in a punk band. I have no problem with progressive. It was the progressive ideologues. It was these zealots. Just like any other ideology, if you go crazy trying to be like, no, it's my worldview, it's like, get out of here. And that's what these people are doing right now. They're like, no, I hate progression in every way, shape, or form. I need things to stagnate. I want things to be the way that they used to be. I want it to be like this fake fantasy Leave It to Beaver world, which never existed. That's television, sir. The way that the family and everything's nice and everything's all betrayed, that was bullshit. There was misery, cheating, abuse. Like, the women weren't happy doing what they were doing, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Are you stupid? Would you be happy only being limited to do a certain amount of things? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't, you stupid. Like, how stupid could you be to think that, like, oh yeah, women were so much happier when they were just cooking for me and getting beaten. Like, are you, how could you be so obtuse? If you know you wouldn't want that for yourself, how could you think other people would want that for them? Like, how dumb are you? Like, it's a miracle that these people, some of these people, have significant others at all. Because they just prove that they're so selfish and they're so ideologically stunted that even seeing the he, him, it's not like Starfield default gave you they, them, or zim, zer, or something like that. It's not like they defaulted to give you something that is out of the ordinary. No, they gave you what is standard. Just the mere fact that it even shows it somehow just made these people have tantrums, sent them into a tailspin where it's like, guys, go for a walk, man. Go play some basketball. Go catch a baseball game. Go do something where there's a bunch of normies and then just realize that none of this shit matters at all. Crazy, man.